Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over 2 entertaining articles dealing with fathers that refuse to pay for their daughters' weddings at the last minute. And each story, guys, it's all about how essentially the daughters, or the brides, they didn't want their fathers to bring their spouses along because they didn't like them. In the first story, or first article, it's about the gal, she didn't want her stepmother to come along. And obviously she's had issue with her for a long time, even though she wasn't the one that caused the divorce. And you're going to see how the father handles it. And the second one is about a gal who her father, when she was very young, came out as gay. And obviously the mother and him divorced amicably. And she always got along great, but obviously he now has a partner. And she's married to some really conservative dude whose parents are super religious and conservative and doesn't want her father to bring her other daddy, if you will, along to the wedding, or the brothers, or to talk about their lifestyle because of the dude's parents she's marrying. And both of them in these situations said, if the spouses aren't coming, then we're not paying for it. And of course they're freaking out and you're so horrible and blah, blah, blah. Quite entertaining. And I'm doing this, guys, for 2 reasons. One, the obvious entertainment factor. We all like seeing spoiled a-holes that are entitled and think the world revolves around them get what's theirs. And 2, a lesson to all the parents out there, or future parents. What happens when you really spoil your kids? What happens when you raise them to think that they are, the world revolves around them, to be so spoiled and entitled? This is the type of crap you can get. So, the first article is titled, Dad Refused to Pay for Daughter's Wedding Since She Won't Invite His Wife. It says here, a father is refusing to pay for his daughter's wedding after she snubbed his current wife by not inviting her to the wedding. Talk about disrespect. And by the way, this dude's been divorced from her mom for 15 years, as you're going to see. So, get over it. Taking to Reddit, the father is torn and wondering if he made the right decision. He says, my daughter is getting married in the autumn. I am supposed to be paying for the wedding. That's what we agreed on, the man wrote in his Reddit post. He added, they received they saved the date invitations a few days after I put the payments through my bank, but they need to be approved, so no money has been paid yet. He says, I've been divorced from my daughter's mom for 15 years and married my new wife for 8 years. The 58-year-old man wrote, my daughter never really liked my wife. They didn't get along well. My other 2 kids love her. How about that? Now, I have to question, are the other kids he's talking about, are they much younger than her? Are they boys? Because clearly she's got an issue. And I've heard a lot of stories where parents get divorced, and typically the oldest girl may have major issues with the future stepmom. The stepmom could be the coolest lady in the world. Doesn't matter. She's got issues and loyalty to her mother and all that. And obviously, I got to wonder if it's like this. And here's a question. Did her mom, the bride's mom, ever remarry? And I got to wonder if her mother, is there's manipulation going on behind the scenes. That she doesn't want to see her ex-husband there with a new wife because that makes her look bad. You got to question these things, given the stories I do all the time. He says, I called my daughter and asked her why my wife isn't invited. She said that it's her wedding day and she only wants to invite real family. What a disrespectful little bitch. Remember, who's paying for this wedding? I don't want to hear this, it's my wedding crap. Clearly she's forgotten the golden rule. And I don't mean the golden rule from JC. I'm talking about the golden rule that is, he who has the gold makes the rules. If this dude's paying for the wedding, I'm bringing my wife. Whether you like it or not, honey. You want to talk about spoiled. You want to talk about entitled, disrespectful. Unbelievable. Well, nothing surprises me. He says here that the man explained that when he asked his daughter if she invited her mother's boyfriend to the nuptials, his daughter replied, yes. Wait a second, didn't she just say that it's supposed to be just family? But then he says that her mom's boyfriend, not husband, boyfriend, he's coming along. It's those daughters and the stepmoms. It's unbelievable. The man told his daughter that he would not be paying for the wedding if his wife was not invited. There you go. If you don't want to invite her, fine. But get your checkbook out and you can take care of the bills, or your new family can take care of the bills. The daughter refused to compromise on her wedding guest list, so the man canceled all pending payments. Good for this guy. Gotta play hardball. Well, when she sees how much it's going to cost her, I think she'll turn around. Now, of course, she's trying to play hardball. The man's daughter is now super pissed at him, as is his ex-wife. Newsflash, who gives a crap? He's not married to her anymore. He says, my wife is 61. I met her 5 years ago after my divorce. My daughter and my wife never got along. She took her mom's side during the divorce, and our relationship has been rocky ever since, the dad concluded. Rocky for 15 years. Took her mom's side, huh? Imagine that. His post went viral on Reddit with over 3,300 comments. Yeah, this thing was sent to me by subscriber Melissa, the 4% of women that follow me. Shout out to Melissa. And I looked it up, and there was just article after article after article that picked up this story. He says in quotes, "It's your money, and you'll get to spend it how you want. Your daughter can decide who she wants at the." Oh, these are people making comments. Says, "Hey, it's your money, and you get to spend it how you want. Your daughter can decide who she wants at her wedding, and you can decide not to pay for it." One user commented. Another one says, "It's also his wife's money, and so she's not invited but has to pay." Another user questioned. Someone else said, "She has every right to decide who is at her wedding, but you have every right to decide to support your wife in this, especially if she doesn't like it simply because you married after her mother," someone wrote. Another one says, "Absolutely. She can choose who attends, and he can choose what he pays for. Not sure why the daughter thought he would pay after that." Because she's a spoiled, entitled a-hole, and one has to question, at the end of the day, who raised her to be this way? Now, sure, you could have good parents out there and the kids still end up becoming a-holes, but a lot of times when that entitled, that spoiled, that has something to do with the parents. Maybe they overcompensated because of the divorce and let her have her way and spoiled her. I don't know. But talk about disrespect. Now, real quick, that was an article that's telling the story. Now, real quick, just because you guys may be curious, I'll read the actual post just to show you, what was said here real quick. It'll only take a minute. He says here, "My daughter, 27-year-old female," okay, she's 27, "is getting married in the fall. I, a 50-year-old male, her dad, am supposed to pay for the wedding, and that's what we agreed on. We got the save-the-date invitations a few days after and put the payments through the bank, blah, blah, blah. They need to be approved, so no money has been paid yet. My wife isn't invited to the wedding. I've been divorced for 15 years and married my new wife for 8 years. My daughter never really liked my wife. They didn't get along well. My other 2 kids love her." Okay, the other 2 kids love her. Well, that's 2/3. "I called my daughter and asked why my wife isn't invited, and she said it's her wedding day and she only wants to invite her real family. I said, well, did you invite mom's boyfriend? And she said, yes. I said, well, okay, then you should invite my wife too. Or am I not paying for the wedding? She declined and said she isn't inviting my wife. I told her I'll cancel the payments then, and she didn't believe me. I canceled then, and my daughter is now super pissed at me. Am I the a-hole? No." And then a little update, he says, "My wife is 61. I met her 5 years after the divorce. My daughter and wife never got along. She took her mom's side." Okay, so it's pretty much the same thing. So yeah, total a-hole. She's the a-hole. This guy, no way, shape, or form. Good for him, because a lot of dads would cave. Now on to the second story. Second story is, am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for my daughter's wedding, even if I promised to? And this is about the dad who, they got married young, had her young. He eventually came out, and then mom and dad got divorced amicably. And he and his soon future husband raised her. And you're going to see in the story that she is described what she was a daddy's girl. Translation, spoiled little a-hole. And unfortunately, being a spoiled little a-hole comes back to bite him in the butt. And this is the one where she's marrying a dude with super conservative religious family and wants to exclude her dad's husband and the kids and all that. I mean, crazy. This is your father. And the stepfather, who obviously was very good to her, etc., etc. Nope. She doesn't care. Starts as I'm 39 years old and my daughter, a 21-year-old female, is going to get married this June. Since she was a little girl, I promised to pay for her wedding, but something happened 2 days ago that made me change my mind. And by the way, guys, we are at the end of June, and this was posted back in May. So what's happened. He says, a little background. My ex-wife and I had our daughter at a very young age, 18. We got married, and after 6 years of marriage, I could find myself and come out to my wife. She understood, and we had a very amicable divorce and split custody. My daughter was already a daddy's girl, There's trouble there. And always got along well with my partner, a 38-year-old male of 14 years. 14 years. She's known this dude's husband. And got along well, and a daddy's girl, all that. And now it's her wedding day, which they probably look forward to very much. And now she wants to say, nope, you can't come. What an asshole. I know I try to watch my language here on the channel, but I had to say it. Unbelievable. She is planning her wedding, and I was paying for it, and let me know a few things she wanted for her special day. Now listen to her list of things she wants. Number 1, since their future in-laws are so conservative and religious, my husband is not allowed to attend the wedding. I said, okay, it's your day. Number 2, my two sons can't attend either. No, it's not going to be a child-free wedding. And number 3, I can't talk about my lifestyle because she doesn't want to make her in-laws uncomfortable. Again, this is the dude that's going to be paying for a wedding. I say, okay, fine. You can have your future in-laws pay for the wedding. If my husband, who I've been with for 14 years and has treated you like a daughter all this time, is not invited, and your brothers, and I can't talk about my lifestyle. Like he's going to be walking around talking about his lifestyle. I mean, come on here. And besides, I got to point something out. Even though I have my issues with marriage, and you all know that, I've been to plenty of weddings. And let's be honest here, a lot of them are boring. So when you're at the reception and you're all sitting down having dinner, and then afterwards the band starts playing and the DJ start going and dancing starts, it's fun to have gay dudes there because they'll dance and they'll be the life of the party. They'll get everybody out on the floor to do the Macarena and the electric slide, so lighten up for God's sakes. But anyhow, I'm a conservative guy, but I'm pretty open on a lot of things too. Anyhow, he says here, therefore, I told her that if the in-laws are so important, they should pay for the wedding. She got mad at me and called me a child and said if I keep on with this attitude, she'll ask her father-in-law to walk her down the aisle. Oh my, she's calling her own dad a child and says his attitude? Again, a reflection of the times, these spoiled, entitled a-holes. But then again, he described her as being a daddy's girl, so obviously she was spoiled. This is a problem. You can't do this with your kids. And to take it to a whole new level, the gals nowadays take that level of entitlement to a whole new level. She was furious. He said, I'm not paying for the wedding. She was furious and said I was being selfish, picking favorites, not thinking about her at all. You want to talk about bridezilla? You want to talk about that sense of entitlement who puts this shit in their head? Well, we know, unfortunately. He's being selfish. He's being childish. She deserves a good slap. Not for me, because I'll get in trouble, but he can do it. I'll never forget one time, guys. Quick interruption. I know you guys like to hear occasional stories about my life. My sister was a daddy's girl as well. And generally speaking, she was a very nice girl, respectful, did well in school, never got in trouble. But one time, my sister, and I'll never forget this, we were on a plane coming back from a Carnival cruise in 1995. And we went with other families, and my sister was hanging out with this girl who was a part of the group, who was a couple of years younger. My sister was, how old? 15 at the time, and this girl was 14. And this girl had an attitude and all that, and she started rubbing off on my sister. And my sister, on the plane ride back from Puerto Rico, started giving my dad an attitude. And my dad, without hesitation, slapped my sister right across the head when she was being rude. Now that this is quite funny because usually I was the one getting in trouble, and my sister was just so shocked because of this. But my dad was old school. Right there on the plane. He didn't care. This is also before the days of a father or mother does that and they get arrested. You think she ever acted disrespectful to my dad again? Never. It's a good moment, and we still joke about it to this day. And she'll laugh. Anyhow, he says here, she complains that they can't afford the wedding since they are both too young. It reminded me that it was a promise I made. Everyone, including her mom, is calling me selfish. So am I the a-hole here? Absolutely not. But again, they're so wrapped up in the whole she's the bride, therefore she's a dictator in a white dress, that she can do whatever she wants. Bullshit. Good for this guy for standing his ground, and I would not in any way, shape, or form pay for her at all. And to be perfectly honest, after this disrespect, even if she changed her mind, I say, nope, get your conservative family to pay for it. And she mentioned that they don't have a whole lot of money. So who's coming to this thing? I mean, are they showing up barefoot in overalls playing a banjo? Are we talking about that conservative and religious here from a certain part of the country? And no offense to you guys from that part of the country I'm referring to, but gotta make jokes here. He has a little update. He says, my daughter apologized, but didn't change her mind. The rules are set, so I decided not to pay at all. So it was a bullshit apology. I apologize and hug my beloved husband and son for being even willing to be for a second to exclude them. My husband was even willing to help with $5K. But that's it. She doesn't change her mind and already asking her father-in-law to walk her down the aisle. So I'm going to take my son and husband to a special family trip. Well, good for him for not caving and good for him saying the hell with you, but that's really sad because, again, this is his daughter. And one day she's going to look back, hopefully, and realize how much of an a-hole she was and all that, and everybody's going to be thinking it, and you know it. Now, here's a few comments here because I love getting them. One guy says, not the a-hole. Why is she marrying into a family that's intolerant of one of her literal parents' entire lifestyle? And if she is, why is she catering to them instead of standing firm on your side and defending you? Exactly. This is her father, for goodness sake. She doesn't get to take your funding of a wedding that's catering to bigots. Why do people always bend over backwards to accommodate the intolerant relatives at the expense of people that they claim to care about? People need to realize it's not your job or problem to shield these people from the things in the world they don't like. It is their job to tolerate and accept that they are sometimes have to be around all sorts of people in their life, even if they don't agree with them. There you go. Another one says, not the a-hole. Too young to treat her father with respect and pay for her own damn wedding. Too young to get married anyway. Yeah, she's 21. She's a freaking kid, right? She'll probably be divorced in 2 years. And daddy won't be around. Another one says, not the a-hole, and I'm sorry this is happening to you. One would imagine she would know better than associate herself with those types of people. But you're completely right in removing yourself personal and financially. Let her figure out how to explain to these in-laws why her dad isn't there. They'll obviously find out. So there you go. A few comments are always funding. But anyhow, good for these guys. Similar situation, but different types of people standing their ground, not tolerating this BS from these a-hole girls. But you know, at the end of the day, these are their daughters, and it is really sad that it comes to that. But nothing surprises me anymore, but it's good to see these a-holes put in their place. Maybe this story will get out there, which it obviously is, and somebody will read this and think twice about showing that kind of disrespect to their parents. But the lesson is here, guys, you can't spoil your kids. Either they show you respect or cut them off. Teach them a lesson. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you think. These guys did the right thing. I'd like to hear about your opinion on this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.